Hello everyone. Today we're going to start a new app. So we just finished our chat app. That's completed. You can see the video, how it works. Now we're going to start a new app called our dogs app. So we're going to use the dog breeds API called the dog API. We're going to get dog breed information along with pictures. And so we're going to have a list detailed layout, which is not something we have had so far. So when you click on a dog's image, or a dog breed, it will give you more information. So grid views is something that I also haven't worked with before, so it's something new for me. So I'm also going to learn it like right now. I've worked with list views, so I know grid view is not a leap ahead of that. It's somewhat similar, it's just different, probably different way to implement it. So I got one API key. Finish, or let's create. Oh, what did I do? I created a new Flutter project without changing the name. How do you cancel? Can you cancel? I just kept clicking next without really paying attention. Yeah, let's do it in this window. What's the name? Flutter app. It's saved in Flutter project, Flutter app. Yeah, let us a new one, new Flutter project. Let's call this. First of all, let's save this in the folder where the folder that I use for all the this live coding session. For all these live coding sessions, let's name this project Dogs app. Dog breeds app. Next. And let me go slowly and see everything is fine, looks fine. Next. Finish. I will delete this Flutter app. Yeah, it'll just take some space. I don't like it too much. This window. Then we'll go to our Windows Explorer. As a File Explorer. Let's head over to users, control, projects, Flutter project, Flutter app. Let's delete this, right? 22, that's today. Delete Flutter app. Close this. Now let's open Flutter app and it'll say from there, remove from the list. All right. Okay, now let us start our emulator. Actually, a thing to say, I was going through YouTube, some Flutter videos, and I came across this amazing thing called The Boring Show, which is by Flutter's official YouTube channel. And the Flutter team, some of the folks from the Flutter team, they actually do that show. And it's boring, but the most entertaining thing that you can ever think of, because they live code some app that they want to do, or some component that they want to do, and it's not planned, and it's very informal, and you get to see how experts they actually get to think and how they go about building an idea that they have. So it's about an hour, I think an hour each series, each episode is about an hour. So most folks, they don't sit through the whole thing, but at least just a few minutes. It's fun to peek into the minds of those experts and to get a feel of how they think. Actually, let's stop it. Let us first things first. Let's put the API key. Type new dot file constants. Let's do const string k API key. So if I paste it here, I think it's, can I expose it? Free is when you're making fancy website. It seems to be free for the whole part. I don't see any pricing. So sure, even if you All right, so this is a good developer. He is giving everything free. Sure, it's here. All right, now here, oh yes, I'm just disoriented as of now. Let's head over to pub.dev and let's download our HTTP package. So this is the HTTP for doing our network request. We're going to be using this. Let's copy this. Let's see if we can go a little fast. Let's go to our pubspec.yaml, paste this dependency, and let's think of any other dependency that we might need. I can think of this, alert, hero animations. We might do some text. Yeah, we'll code it along the way. Let's do packages get. Now itself, let's not even start the app. Let this complete. Let us delete whole my app and let us create this thing, stateless widget, my app. Sure. Let us return a material app. I learned a new thing called providers, which we might implement today. Material app. Let's think. First is routes. We'll even do themes. We did themes for the last app, we'll do themes for this app also. Routes. So let us create our screens. So new package screens. Let us create our first screen called home screen. Dot file. Reduce the brightness here. Home screen. Let's create this as a state. Let's widget for now. Home screen. Let's import material and let's add our route name. So static final string route name is equal to home screen. All right, so now on the main dot we can access that. Home screen dot route name. This will go to context and this will build a home screen. We have this. Our initial route will be home screen dot route name. Our themes will of course we'll do our themes too, but let us build step by step. This should return a scaffold. Scaffold is an app bar. But let's just try to mess with this. Is there something called a Cupertino app bar? All right, I don't know, app bar. So Cupertino refers to like iOS parts of the widget. So is there something where you can say like make it the Cupertino thing? All right. So that we'll think about later. One thing I wanted to learn actually, something called slivers, which I'm new to. Sliver list builder. Let's just see if can we implement this today. Something new for me to learn. So let's check. Demystified fancy scrolling. Let's see what slivers actually are. So we don't actually need this. So at some point we'll learn how to do that. It doesn't really seem like we would need it now. Sliver app bar. This we may use this. Sliver app bar. We can put an image of a dog there. Let's try to implement this. Let's have some fun. Let's see what we can do with this. Custom sliver app bar. We'll have to go. So we'll do this at the end. First, let's implement the app in a basic way. So let's implement all things that we know, and then we'll experiment and build something new. So title, let's add the usual thing. Text is dog breeds, and let's build the app. dog breeds. So we have to go to the documentation, send the request, parse the JSON response, download the data, save it. There'll be some providers that we might use. There'll also be route. So Flutter route parameters. How do I pass this on generate route? Yes, this is the thing that we want. Arguments is equal to. So it looks like this is not the thing that we wanted. It says on generate route, but we'll take it from some other code. There's one Stack Overflow article that I had followed last time, and if we can't find it, then we'll copy the code from the previous apps. So I'm just thinking of all the components that we would need to use. It's very informal. I'm just talking along the way. So Sliver app bar will do it at the end. Let's learn something new. With every app, let's learn some new skill. And we can actually do this as a challenge. Maybe, I'm not confirming, but maybe we could do like now it's 8:15. Let's try to finish this app, today. So however long it takes, instead of splitting it into multiple things, let's see if we can do it. I'm not promising. I have no clue how long it will take. Let's give it a try though. All right, dog breeds. Let's start building. Now next is body. So body, it requires this grid view, which we have to think on how to build. Let's try. Is there something called grid view dot builder? Okay, there is. Okay, now I have to what is a grid delegate? Delegate controls the layout within the grid view. Explicitly item builder. So let's head over to grid view. So we know what you have to use. Grid view dot builder. So let's see this. Oh no, not this. Let's see this. Stack Overflow article. All right. Item count, data length, grid delegate, sliver, grid with fixed. It's getting complex. Let's see something easy. Stateless, stateful. Grid view dot builder. Okay, number of items. Grid delegate is sliver. Okay, many people are using this sliver. Grid delegate with fixed cross-axis count. Cross-axis count. Grid view row. I'll have to read through all this. This construct approach for grid views with large or infinite number of children because of okay. But I'm still not sure. This view dot builder is easy to understand, but how will you specify how many number of things in a column? Cross-axis count. Oh, this is the thing. Oh, okay. New grid. Okay, item count. Grid delegate. New sliver grid delegate. Okay, let's try type that. Sliver grid delegate with fixed cross. Oh, I see. So fixed with fixed cross-axis count. So fixed, that means so we'll specify 2. So with fixed cross-axis count. So that way we can specify here, I believe, yes, cross-axis count. Let's specify 2. It takes an int, right? Int. So what was grid view row? Because here they had something grid view row. Well, anyway, let's specify 2. Now item builder. Now this will generate the thing. So item builder. All right. This seems fine. So we have a rough idea of how we're going to build our grid view. Let's comment this out and let us work the backend first. So then we can spend all our time on the front end. The backend is like just one way to do it. So let's quickly do it. First thing is, we have to build services. Services. So we'll build this networking dot file. Networking dot file. Class network helper. Quite hungry actually today. Random off-topic thing. Class network helper. Let's do a string URL, which you're going to download from this URL. And the constructor will have this URL. So you have to pass this URL. Next is, let's return a dynamic, right? Dynamic get data. So what we'll do here is, let's import HTTP. Import HTTP this dot as HTTP. So now we have to do a couple of things here. HTTP dot get URL, yes. And what does it return? First of all, this will be an async method. Async because it could take time. Get, what does it return? It returns a future response. So basically, let's do response. Yeah, correct. HTTP response. Response is equal to await. So now we wait for the response. We get the response. Response is stored here. Now we can access this. So now we can do if response dot status code is equal to 200, which is successful. Then we'll return response. Return JSON decode of response.body, else return response.status code. So this dynamic thing, right here, it will be something like a map. This will be an integer, hence we have to return dynamic, because it could return anything depending on what the condition is. I mean, depending on what the case is, 200 or something else. So we have this URL thing. Next, in our, all right, so now we have built this thing. So now in our home screen, we can do that command. Let's go to the documentation here. So we're going to go into this get breeds. So /breeds. Let's do a test. The query, nothing is there. So we have this object. Let's create the model class first. So as I said, let's hurry up and let's see if we can complete the app today. Completely. So models, I'm going to go quickly. Models, let's do that file dog class dog dog. So now let us check this. There's a bread for class. What am I doing? String bread for string breed group. Height. How will we save height? String bread for. So we need like a subdivision within it. How do we do it? Let's create a map. Map that takes in a string ring and it takes in an int, and let's call this map height is equal to. So here you have two fields. What they have, imperial and metric. Oh, it doesn't take an int, takes in string ring impereal. I just do empty for now, or just null also will do. Metric. I don't know why I'm defining it from now itself. We can actually do it later. But let's just do it now for fun. No, let's not do it now. Let's not do it now. All right, so now we have this map. Next, ID. Do we need ID? Yes, we need. It's very important. Int ID. It's very important because we can get more information about this specific dog by querying it by its ID. Lifespan string, lifespan string. Name, of course, the biggest, actually I'm trying to avoid the thing, of course. That's a random thing. Because of course seems like as if I'm, yeah, it doesn't seem a very positive thing. Of course, like it seems as if I'm looking down at someone and saying that you should know this. I'm just trying to avoid that word, trying to be as positive as possible. Name, string name, origin, string origin, string temperament. Here again a map that takes in a string, let's call this weight. All right, so I think we are fine. So now we have this dog. Let us, do we need a constructor? If we need one, we'll create one. Now we have this dog thing here. All right, now what we'll have to do is, yep, this will be a stateful widget, convert a stateful widget. So here in our init state, right, this is state init state. Here we'll have to call a method. Let's define this method here. Let's do void get dog breeds async. This will call network helper is equal to network helper. And what URL you have to pass? Let's head over into the docs. Let's see what's the URL. This is the URL. So we'll copy it till here. /breed, that's the path. Const string k, const string k, what's it? K body API URL. Next, let's go into our home screen, networking. So now here we can, let's do k and k API URL /breeds. Data, var data, so it's dynamic, is equal to get helper dot get data. Right, this will get. Now you do a try catch. Try. Let me just take a sip of water. It's empty. I'll just pause the recording. And get some water. Yeah. All right, perfect. I'm back. All right, now data. What we're doing. All right, data here. Now if we, so let us extract the fields that we want. So the response that we'll get is an array. So let's actually Control C and let us parse the response using a JSON formatter. So we can get the nodes and collapse the nodes. Yeah, it's a long thing, so it will take some time to parse. We can collapse all the nodes. So now we can see, so it's an array of these dog objects. So here's how we have to parse it. Let me think. First things first, we have to be received an array, right? So we have to like go object to object. So there's something like a for loop. I'm just trying to figure out, because I've never had a case where the, like usually it's like if you want to access an array, usually had a key. I've never dealt with an array as the root. In Flutter, I've never dealt with it. Let me just think, how would we do it? So how do we usually do it? Refer to the notes. Let's check here. I think I found it. We are coming close. I didn't note it down. Yeah, I didn't note it down. Oh, oh, that's it. That's it. Just use data. All right. So basically, what you have to do is for. How do you get that array? How do you? No. Okay, for. Let's do for var dog in data. So data actually comes out to be an array itself. If you're wrong, we'll correct it, of course. So now we have this dog thing. Now we have to parse this dog. This dog equals each object here. So let's see how will we parse. So let's do. Now this is a good chance to utilize something called provider. So I just learned this today. So I'm also going to be a little new. Something called we have to download the provider package. So provider is a nice way to handle data and the flow of data in Flutter. So there are many like constructs or ways to do it, but let's use provider package. Flutter favorite. Let's copy this and stop the app. So packages get. And yeah, from code. There's some errors. Stop. Yeah, run the app. Still something. Try catch. Comment these lines of code out. Oh. Start this. So our plan is we're going to wrap our material app with something called a changed value provider. What's a changed provider? Change notifier provider. Or something similar to that. And that will store a list of dogs. And then all the widgets we're going to, like all the widgets will refer to that list. So we'll think of it as like one main list that you have. And then everyone refers to that, right? It's like LSU's database of like LSU numbers that Tiger was that LSU card numbers, the 8-9 numbers. So there's one list that LSU has, like where each number refers to to a person and has more information about that person. So what you do is you don't make your own list of each number. Every person you meet, you make out your number, right? What's your information? No, you take the number from someone, you access that main central database and get all the information you want. So in our case, our central database is going to be that provider that we're going to implement now. So let's do change notifier provider. And before this, we need something called a block. A block refers to what data we want to save. Like it basically is a model of a database. Think of it that way. This database is not persistent. It's just as long as the app is running, the database is active. So once you close the app, everything is deleted, which is what we want. We don't want to save the dog information. We are fine with it. New Dart file. Let's call this dog block class dog block. extends change, or what's that, notifier, change notifier. Let me see if it's correct. All right. Oh, no, material. We have this change notifier. Now here we'll create a list of dog objects, right? Underscore dogs, start out with empty. Let's import this model. Now underscore means this is private, so we will return this list. So a getter. So here in Dart is a cool thing. What's it? It is get dogs underscore dogs. That's it. So when you, instead of having a method, you can have a field that returns underscore dogs. We're going to save it as an unmodifiable list view, and wrap this. So basically we can't modify the list. That's it. And if you want to modify, we have to call some dedicated methods for doing that. Is void add dog. So this is what it does. It takes in a dog, right? And it does underscore dogs dot add, and it adds dog. And then you have to do a very important thing called notify listeners. Actually, it's not the best idea. Let's not do add dog. Let's actually take in void update dogs list. And this takes in a list of dogs. Call dogs, and underscore dogs will equal to dogs. And then we do this important thing called notify listeners. Notify listeners updates, like whichever widgets, whatever widgets uses this dogs, list of dogs, it will tell those widgets that, hey, the data has changed. Be sure to recreate your widget, or do the required thing that you need, because data has changed. And then they can handle that event. So notify listeners. We have a dog here. We were in home screen. Let us now do this here. So within our trial, let's create a list of dog called dogs. Let's make it empty. And with each pass of this for loop, we'll add it to the dogs here. So now let's create a dog. Dogs.add. Let's create a dog here. And now I think is a good time for the constructor. So alt insert constructor, all the fields, Control L, and these curly braces within. This is a very helpful thing of Dart, is those curly braces. So you know which parameter you're passing. You can even change the order of the parameters in the method. Dogs.add dog. So let's start with ID. And now is a good time to refer to this. So ID is within that dog, just ID. All right. So it is dog ID. Let's go step by step. Bread for. Let's go in order. Bread for is equal to dog bread underscore for. Breed group is dog underscore group, let's confirm, underscore height. Now height is a funny one. Height is a map, right? So height, let's head over to this. So height and weight will handle later. So how do you create this empty map for height and weight? And here's why. So later when we do dot add, right, in the map, you won't get a null pointer exception because now it's pointing to some empty object. If you don't do this, then if you do dot add later, you'll get a null pointer exception. So to avoid that, let's keep here. Height will handle height and weight later, as I said. Height, then ID, and then ID, then lifespan is equal to dog life underscore span. Name is dog name. Origin dog origin. Temperament dog temperament temperament temperament. Change this temperament. Made a spelling mistake there. Wouldn't affect the handling of the app, but let's be grammatically correct here. All right, everything looks fine. We get this dog that has default height and weight. Oh. We have to dog object, because before adding it in the list, we have to modify the height and weight. So Control X. And now we'll do dog object dot height. Dot, how do you add in a map? How do you add in a map? Dot how to add to map. Add item. Really, we use just the square brackets. This is so amazing. So amazing. This is exactly like Python. That is so beautiful, and why I and many other developers love it is because it takes the best things of like Python and languages such as Java that's heavily object-oriented focused, takes the best things and leaves out the negatives of it and brings this amazing language that all of us just love. So now we have imperial is equal to, let's head over to a JSON formatter. So inside height, you have to go in the height object, then you have to go to imperial. So height imperial, right? You have to go to dog, go to the height object, then go to the imperial from there. Let's do this. So here height, then it's metric. Metric dog metric. Let's copy these 2 lines of code, paste it here, and now we just change height to weight. Imperial metric. So height, weight, height, weight, imperial metric, yeah. And now we can add dogs.add dog object. So we, throughout this whole for loop, we create the list of dogs. Then provider dot off context. Here we pass a dog block. dot update list of dogs, dog list. Let's pass in our dogs. And everything that uses that list of dogs will be updated. So let me just think. All right, let's just try. And if catch happens, then you have to see something like error downloading dogs or something similar. Let's catch the exception first of all. How to say error downloading dogs? So we can use Flutter's package called rflutter alert. Let's take this. pubspec.yaml, paste it here. Packages get. And let's restart the app. Every time we change, add a new dependency, the best thing is to always do a cold restart. So we'll do a cold restart here. Now let me walk through. So when you catch the exception, here let us display like error downloading dogs, right? And also, hey, you know what? We'll do an amazing thing. We'll do an amazing thing. You know what? Inside a dog block, we'll add a variable called is downloading, and we'll set it to yes when it's downloading data and then no when it's not. So that way we can link that with the visibility of our progress indicator. And so when the thing is being downloaded, we can show that. That's a really good use of like listener pattern and this providers. So in a dog block, let that load. Yep, providers null, not a problem, expected error. Let's add our new thing, which I'm pretty excited about. Bool. Here, this context. Let's give context. Next title is a string. So let's give title as error downloading dog breeds dot show. We don't even need description. That's it. Let's print it for our sake so we can know what's going on. Print E. All right, we're looking. Yeah, we'll get some errors. We'll fix those errors. So now what will happen is it will give us this list of dogs. Now what we need to do is let us wrap our main thing child. All right, change. It needs dog block. Now dog block needs something builder. Is it called create? Is it create? So create what it takes in. It takes in a context function that takes in a context, and it returns in a type of t, which is like a variable type, or I'm not dynamic type. So basically dog block. So here you have to just very simple thing, context, and it will return a dog block. And now the good thing is this dog block will be used in all the descendants for this child widget material app. So basically our entire app can access the dog block, and each dog block contains a list of dogs, and very soon is downloading, which is extremely helpful because of its listener and observer kind of pattern that's there. So we can have a progress indicator to listen for changes in is downloading. Whenever is downloading is true, the progress indicator will be visible. Is downloading false, make it hidden. So now catch here. All right, everything looks fine. Now let us give it a hot restart. Everything should be fine. If yeah, it's fine, good. So now if everything went right, what we can do is after this try catch, let's do print Let's do provider, right? Provider dot off. This is how you access the dog block, the provider from the parent widgets, dog block. So print. So this dot get. I mean, what we had dogs, right? Dogs, dogs. Let's see what happens. What do we get? Nothing. So what does this mean? Is it null? Is it like what's going on? Hot restart. Nothing's printed. Let's do print one to see if this line of code is even like what's going on. Print one. So, oh, funny. We didn't even call this method. Let's call this method get dog breeds. Now let's see what's printed. Downloading. Some kind of error here. Wait, what happened here? We didn't put await in any place. Await. You have to put await here. Let's start it again. Await. So currently it was written in the future, and we couldn't. This data was a future, so we have to do await. Downloading. So we know the error is working. This was called on null. So let's go step by step. Let us print our dogs. And let's not even deal with providers as of now, because that's new for me. So let's stay away from it. Let's build the part that we should know. We should know. Is there a parsing error? Let's see. Try calling. Okay, so this seems to be a problem here. Here. So what's the problem there? I mean, we saw here, right? There are two ways to add an item. Put if absent. We did this, right? Map 3 to 3. So, all right, then one thing we can do is let's ignore all of this. Let's see what happens now. Let's start with the basics and let's build our way from the start. So if everything works now, that means there's some problem here. So, okay, instances are working. That's very good. Yeah, there are many instances of dogs. There's something wrong here. So one debugging thing you can do is print. So we can see, is this turning a string, right? So maybe there's some problem on the right side of the expression. Maybe the left side is correct. Just working with all possibilities. Let's see what happens. All right, so we're getting all the strings. So it is working fine. Imperial metric. Let me just confirm. Is it imperial? IMPERIL metric. Wait. IMPERIL. Any spelling mistake? So what exactly is going wrong? Let's uncomment one line of code. Let's see what happens. Try calling the method. All right, you know what we should do then is string, right? String, comma, string. Let's Google search. Oh, was called on null. Oh, wait. Let me read this clearly. This was called on null. Oh, oh. So looks like this is null, but how is it null? We are equating it some. Ah, we have to. Here, let's do this. Height is, if not passed, it'll be this. A constant. What's wrong? Okay, this is working. So we don't want to allow us to mess with the height and weight. That will do it separately. So now our thing will work. So it won't be null now when we call on this. So if everything goes fine, we could see many instances of dogs and then everything is working. Else we'll try to fix, what's the error now? Yep. All right, so now we have instance of dogs. Next, let's try to mess with the providers. Let's see if we got the providers to work. So now let's remove this print dogs. So we'll only depend on the dogs that the provider has used. Listen. Yeah. Yep, listen. Exactly, listen. So listen, let's do false. We want only one. So listen, if it's true, then it'll keep listening for some change, which is not what we want. We just want a one-time thing. How to reload, how to restart. So let's see. Still no. We pass listen is equal to false. Like an event handler, like a button press to fix. Listen false. Yes, we did that. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Or maybe the correct thing, but we have to do it in both places. Listen false. So whenever you're updating the values, you shouldn't even if you don't change this, I don't think it will matter. But when you're updating some value, listen should be false. Let's give some hot restart. Let's see what happens. What does this mean? Okay, let's give this also false. It's quite adamant. It wants listen to be false. Let's agree with it. Let us go ahead. Let's yeah. Okay, so we got our backend to a fair level. One test we can do is, I think we have it running for a decent level. Now let us start to work on a grid view. So what we'll do is, no need of printing now. So this is what will happen. We'll implement the circular progress indicator or the progress indicator at some 9 o'clock. Wow, 1 hour quickly. Time goes fast when you're having fun. Item builder. Now let's see what item builder takes in. It takes in build context and int function of build context and int. So it takes in context and an index. So it's very nice. It's very straightforward. It's exactly very similar to how list view.builder works. Now within this, now here we need to think about how will we take it. So we'll return a text view. So we'll return a text view. Let's just keep it very simple, text. And inside the text will be, so let's get the text first. String name is equal to, I kind of want to not do this. I want to, because that is so beautiful, but it doesn't encourage too much of object-oriented programming. So I'm used to like Android, which is heavily dependent on like objects, classes. Here it's more of states and widgets. It is the modern way, which I love, but I'm going to stick with what we're doing now by using like string name. Let's go slowly for now. String name, provider dot off context. Let's do a dog block. Now we get a list of dogs, and for the list of dogs we take the index. For the index we take in the name. Oh, why can't we take in the name? It may work, but it's just not recognizing it in the autocomplete because it doesn't know the type maybe or something similar. What's this return dogs? Yeah, it's a dynamic, so it doesn't know that this thing that it returns has a field of called name. So name will be given here. All right, let's see what happens. One more thing I have to provide is like a what do you say? There's something like number of stuff within the grid view builder, like some count maybe, item count is equal to this provider. I just learned it today and it's so good. I'm going to use it quite often because of its listener and observer kind of pattern. Dot underscore dogs dot length. This is not very good. Why is it returning a dynamic? Here, let us return a list of dogs. Now we should, so now the autocomplete will work. Earlier we were returning a dynamic. Now we are returning, you see now it will be a string list of dogs. Yes, now we can do things like length. So now it will know what's going on. Things like length. The thing was when it goes to Z, then it will give you the errors or Y. Yes, it's the last one. So now we'll handle the case. I did hot restart. So everything disappeared and suddenly it'll appear. Now when you scroll all the way to the bottom with the Y, the Yorkshire Terrier, you get the end of our grid view. It's pretty exciting. So I don't know how we decided the height of this. Let's have a look at the Flutter inspector. So I know why it would give the width. It would give it evenly for both these objects. But the height, is it something default? How do we mess around with the height? Something to think about. Now, instead of returning text, now we can actually build something more complex. Let us return an expanded widget. Do we need an expanded widget? For now, let's keep it as a container. Child of the container. Let us return a column. Also, does this response, why doesn't it return an image? So, okay, so it returns the ID. There may be a way to get the image. Get all public images. Get image. Is image matching the image ID? No. We need to get all public images. And then we'll take the first one. So let's see what we get. Query, I think in the query you have to pass. Okay, the default is 1. So let's take breed ID, let's say 2. Send, what's 2? 2 is Afghan hound. Let us paste it here. This will take much less time to parse. You know how we do it. Okay, so here it returns an array with just one object. What's return breeds? Maybe an image can, so maybe in the back end, they must have stored an image that has multiple breeds, maybe. Maybe an image has, multiple dogs in it. Maybe that's just a guess. But what we're focused with is this URL. It's not very easy here to get the images. If it would have been just straightforward, like in the open weather API, you pass in an ID and it returns that image, it'll be straightforward. But here we have to do some additional parsing, which is not very, it's not fun. Let's give 1, send. So it returns only one object. Why? Okay. It constantly returns just one object. African hunting dog. Let's see this. I just want to see, will it ever return more than 1? And will it ever return 0? Okay, so here's the plan. We have to get this get request and pass in the query. You have to pass in breed ID and you have to pass in breed ID, which is not very helpful actually. It's not good. So that's not good API design. Like return an image, at least one image, just one image with a breed. But that won't happen. But it's all right. It's a good API. I don't want to badmouth it. It's a good API. So now what you have to do is actually, once you have downloaded the list of dogs, you have to do a couple of more things. So each dog, let's add a new property called string image URL. All right. This property, it won't be downloaded. So we'll have to add this ourselves. So let's go back to our home screen. So once this thing is downloaded, like here's a for loop, right? For loops. Outside the for loop, you have added this provider. Okay, so for loop. So you created all these dogs, all the dogs now. Okay, you have a list of dogs. Now the age editing part comes. It's just not efficient. It's not at all efficient. So now you have to make multiple requests, which is so horrible. It's not efficient at all. So let's give it a go. For so we'll do this now together. Next we'll do it is in background. So first we'll download the dogs, then we'll keep downloading the images in the background. So we'll first let's do it together. All right. So now for each dog we have to go through. So for var or for dog object in, we can't use this. Okay, we can use in dogs, which is this list of dogs here. For each of this, you have to create a new network helper. I don't like this. Is equal to new network helper. And for this, notice the other thing. It is /images/search. So this URL will be KAPI URL. Do you notice one thing? We didn't even specify the API key, but it still gave us the responses. Funny. KAPI URL /images/search. Let me just take some sip of water. All right. I'm just network helper. Now here comes the thing. So we have to create a new response, parse the response. Makes no sense at all. Makes no sense at all. So again, you have to do this. Where data, can we write another data variable here? Okay, it accepts it. It's not equal to this. That's good. Where data is equal to helper.getData, and be sure to make it await. And now the thing that I don't like is we have to do another try catch. It's just so not good. Just so not good. So incredibly bad. Try data. So inside the try, now we have this. So now we have to parse. Let's head over to our formatted response. So we have an array. So in the array, and each dog will have a null. Sure, let's have null. Our image URL is equal to empty. Let's leave it to null. Let's see what happens. Try. Now parsing this. So let's do it. So let's do dog object dot image URL is equal to data 0. We want only the first one. Data 0. Then within that we have to go to URL. Dog object dot. Actually, that's it. That's it. And if it ever fails, catch. Let's print the exception just for us. We don't need to alert the user for that. And if it fails, the dog object will have an empty image URL or null. So we'll run this for all the dogs. Finally, we'll do this. So if you notice what's the problem here is you made one request here and you just pass through the response. Here, you make a single response for each dog that you have downloaded. So that's the problem. If in this response here, if they included one dog image, then we just need to make one request, and you get the one image and and the dog too. But so where it is for dog you have here. So now you have the dog image URL. So now we can do one thing here. In this child for the container, let us first create a column children. First, let's do an image property, network image. Let's just do one thing for now. Network image. Let's do dog, right? string name. Let's actually first extract the dogs. List dogs. Dogs. List dogs. Dogs. Look at this. List of dogs. Right? So what you get? List of dogs. Now here you can do dogs dot. Oh, dog index. Oh, let's do index. And let's not do list of dog. Let's take the dog that we are concerned with, right? The current dog in this builder method. So here we can do just dog dot image URL, and if it fails, we'll see what to do. So let's just see now what we get now. So what errors will do, we'll fix it. So we should get some kind of images. Any error, let's see how much time it takes. We have to think of a more smarter solution. So we can't do it together. We have to download all the dogs information first. Then in the background, we have to run these images things. It's funny. Look at how much time it's taken. Oh, one thing I forgot to do is forgot to specify for our images. We have to specify a query parameter called image URL. Let's stop this thing. Why did I stop it? Now it will give a hot. It will be a cold thing. Anyway, here let us do dog object dot id query. And what's the query called? Breed id underscore id. What I'm talking about is in the documentation. If you notice, they want you to breed underscore id. They want you to pass the breed id along with your thing here. Breed id is 4. So now, so it returns that image for that. All right. It'll take some time for building the app also, then the downloading from the internet. And we are doing the lazy approach is to do everything together. Then we'll think of a way on how to make a separate widget. That's very nice programming. Is we'll create a separate widget called dog card. And inside each dog card, when the card starts, we will, or somehow we will start the background download for the images. So they won't happen at the same time. Because downloading the dogs is quick. Downloading the images, I mean, making those requests for the image URLs, that takes time. Let me see, or maybe it's not taking time. Maybe there's some error in the code. Have to make sure. So that's the whole thing. Bug helper. Wait. Alright. Clear, it worked. So I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work. Okay, you know what we'll do? Let us put some print statements so we know exactly where is it in the execution. So here we'll do, oh. So what is it returning? I have no clue. It's returning like GIFs, it's returning images, and if you scroll too fast, it re-downloads it. We need that cached thing. Now that's where our chat app we have implemented. We saw some Stack Overflow article, and we had made, so in the group card we had made that cached thing. Group card, what's it called, cached network image, clip oval. We don't need clip oval now, we just need directly cached network image URL placeholder. All right, cached placeholder error visit. This is all that we wanted. So now let's do a cached visit. Do we have to implement that library? So let's do a flexible. Let us wrap each of our image within a flexible. So home screen, where in our thing where we return, in our builder we return a thing with network image, be sure to wrap our image with a widget called flexible. Oh, flexible. So now it should work, and we won't get this overflow stuff. Yeah. Let me check in the Flutter inspector. Are the sizes equal for each? They're equal for each, but they don't look equal. We have to, a lot of stuff we have to make each a card, and a lot of stuff we have to do. But it's good progress. Good progress. The heights are, they aren't uniform. It's horrible stuff, but we made good progress. So cache network image. Right now, if you scroll it, then it re-downloads or it does something. I don't know what it does with it. Let us cached network. Oh, yeah, it's a library from online. Cached network images. Oh, popularity is 9. Seems like many people like it. All right. Seems good. Yep, this is the thing that we want. Cache network image. All right, we're getting some really good progress going on here. Packages get, and let's do a cold restart, which will take an enormous amount of time. First, start the app, then we have to download the images from the internet, the image links, and make those multiple requests, parse those requests. It takes time, and eventually we will implement the images part in the background. It's funny. It's funny. Let me clean my spectacles, but this will take some time. Small smudge at the bottom left corner of my right lens. Let's take care of that. It's taking some quite long time. It's returning different images every time? All right, we'll figure out what's going on. The home screen. Let us replace this with cached network image. This will have a property called image URL. Let's take this as a this image URL, image URL. What else it needs? At least placeholder, which is a widget, which is circular progress indicator. Then it some problem here. Oh, build context and string. I don't know what string is for. Context and string. What's the string? Oh, context and URL. Error widget takes in context string dynamic. What's the dynamic part of it? Error. All right. So context URL error. This returns a error. Let's return an icon. Okay, but what's so? Oh, so inside this we can access the URL, image URL. We can access the context. We can access the error, but we don't need to access all of that. So we'll just leave it as it is. And now here we'll return an icons.icon. Icons.icon, no. Or icon and icons dot error or something. Or image, broken image. So flexible. Let's do Control S. Yes. Yes. So now you scroll, it downloads as and when you scroll, it downloads it as needed, and you scroll up, it doesn't re-download it again. This is what it is. So now we have to somehow make like the constant height and all that stuff. But we have a pretty decent thing to work with. And in our column under the flexible thing here, let us, just for our testing purposes, let us do a text which is dog.name. Let's see this. Oh, let us wrap this within a card. Oh no, column, card. So we can see the thing happening. Oh, wow. Oh, the card heights seem to be the same, but where the image is. So we somehow need to center. No, we need to expand the column. Expanded. It's fun, man. It's fun. Oh, not the column. Oh, not the column. Whoopsie. Now the thing is, this flexible. If you do a expanded on the flexible, let's just give it a try and see what happens. It most probably will give something weird or won't even work. Okay, so let's delete expanded. Let's leave it as flexible. Now, if you see here, we need to like a name. Yep, a name. We need a name. Name at the bottom. What if you wrap this within a container that's expanded? Wrapped within container. This container is wrapped within expander. Just a shot in the wild. No, there's nothing. Nope. So let's remove expanded. Let us remove container. We have this here. Now somehow we have to think of how to center our image and how to keep this at the bottom. So this must go at the bottom. Can we wrap this within something called an alignment? Align. So I've never used this as such. Let's see, like bottom, center. No, it didn't work. Let's remove the align widget. So somewhat we need, I just can't think of how to do that. I'm just trying out different things. Oh, it actually worked. So we wrapped a flexible within an expand. We wrapped a expanded within a flexible. And so now the image, it takes in as much space as possible. This is what we want. And aha, let's get rid of this blue stuff. And so now we can start working on our text name here. So we can increase. So first of all, let's add a background to this flexible. Can we add a background? No. Can we add a background to the expanded background? No. So to our flexible, let's wrap this within a container. No, we can't wrap this within a container. Can we wrap? Yes, we can wrap this within a container. This container, let us do a couple of things. Let's give a background, a color, right? Color of what color do we want to give? Let's just give it like a blue. Let's see what happens. No. Let's read. Failed assertion. Child is not equal to parent data element. Parent data is not. Something, it's unhappy with color. Oh, so okay, let's see if card has a background color. Let's try to see if this will work. There's some kind of problem here. Failed assertion. Something is wrong with color. Why? What if we remove the image? Then what happens? Something happens. It has a problem with this flexible widget. Something over here. Huh? I did nothing. It just worked. Funny. So now we can actually do. I learned this one shortcut accidentally. I was just typing th in something and thof the shortcut. Here you can do primary color light. Let's see what's the primary color light. Light blue maybe. I spell my. I don't know why whenever I do hot reload, it gives some problem. Okay, let's copy this. Child is not equal to parent data and non-parent data. Let me just copy it from one pane here. It may be quite above. Framework.dart. So let's try to do this. Decoration. Let's do box decoration. Can we do color here? Alright, let's try blue. This works. It won't work again. I don't know why it doesn't work twice. So there's something like hidden deep in this, which I can't really put my finger on. I can't really find what's going on. So it looks like we'll have to abandon this idea of color. Let's start with baby steps. Let's do everything slowly. Now I have to wait for the whole internet download. Let's do style, text style, font size. Let's do a font size of, actually we won't do this. Style will do. Dot headline. No, what's it called? Dot text theme dot headline. Yeah, so let's do headline 6. Let everything start. We have to fix that. Incorrect use of parent data widget. Yep, expanded flex. Typically placed directly inside a flex widget. Yep. So this is causing a problem. Flexible can't be expanded, and that makes sense also. So we have to think of a way. So now parent is going to receive parent data at most one parent data widget. So let us think of another way on how to do that. So anyway, headline 6, let's see how this works. Yeah, it had no problem with color. It was, you can't put a flexible within an expanded. So this should work. Even the color property will work now. So let's do thof dot light. It doesn't look good actually. It doesn't look good. FN function. We need something that's less. Let's do body text 2. Body text 1. We need something subtitle 1. Ah, this looks good. That's the right size. Yep, subtitle 1 seems to be our winner. And oh no. So here's the problem. Following assertion. Hmm. So can we do an expanded widget outside? Let's see Flutter. Yeah, that's too much. Let's stick with what we have. Let's try to figure out. All right, so this seems okay. Our dogs are being tough. So what? Oh no. What's going on? It starts with A, so something's wrong here. It's funny. What's going on? We passed in length, which should usually work. Let's just scroll to the end of the list. It's very funny behavior. How can it? What's the meaning of this? So error here. It's not what we are causing, I believe. Let's do a control S. I don't know what's going on. You know what? Let us stick with list view builder for some time. Control C, because list view, that it's we know how to use it. So let's do list view builder. Nothing is this grid delegate, and everything else stays the same. I think the length, we missed the length. Control C. Where is builder? Item builder. Count. Looks like I have to restart the whole thing. So 9:45. So what we did was we downloaded the list of dogs, and then for each dog we did a separate request for the image. So we'll have to divide those two. That'll be our next big goal. Learning how to use grid view also will be one of our goals. So let us try to get something working at least to a certain degree in at least a list view, or let's see what we can do. And then we'll call it a day, and we'll continue tomorrow. Child non-zero flex, but incoming height constraints are unbounded. Yeah. Yep. Hmm. So we know how list views work, and it seems to be working fine. And we are confident with list views. So we need to learn a way how to transition to grid views. The images are pretty funny. And subtitle 1, that seems too small now. Now in list view, you can go to switch to headline 6. We might actually get away with something more. Headline 4. Headline 3 may be too big. Yep. Headline 4 seems to be the one that we want. And the color, copy width, is to color dot text theme or text accent text theme, primary text theme dot that option not the let's do black 87. It's not the best looking app. It really isn't the best looking app. It's horrible. Clip behavior, shape. It's funny. We'll wrap this within a padding. In our constants file, let's add some small padding. Const string, const double key small margin is equal to 10 const double key large margin is equal to 20. And now within our home screen, here in the padding, let us add k small margin. Let's delete the constant part of it. Restart the app. We have something like this. Let's add some padding to the outside of it also. Within our padding widget, and let's take away this constant. Just add a k small, or maybe k small over 2. Let's go symmetric, and let's do vertical. Okay, let's do horizontal is equal to k small, and let's do vertical is equal to k small over 2. So we have this list of dogs. It looks good. But I mean, we still have to implement like when you click on it, it should take you to the new screen that's left. But we also need a grid view because we can't have the user scroll this way. And also in a list view builder, how to show the scroll. Let's see. Flutter. List view builder. Show scroll view. Scroll bar. Oh. That's it. Just wrap it within a scroll bar. Okay. Scroll bar. Sure. Let's do it. Control S. Funny. It's so amazing with these whole idea concept of widgets. Thing with this, the images become small. So we need to give like a fixed height for each one of these. Network images, let's give a height. A fixed height of 100. Let's see what happens. In grid views, it will be fine. But in list views, it doesn't look good at all. too big. 300. Yeah, now you see, even when the image is not there, but you can't do it this way. Come on. In Android handles this much better. Is once the image is downloaded, it doesn't become blank. And this computer is a fast computer. It's not that. This is so we have to find something. But the app looks fine. Uh, this it showed us for the African that was that Asian hunting dog. So images are wrong. Oh, the images are wrong. Yeah, some images are being repeated. It's not a Yorkshire Terrier. So so what is going on? Is it let's see Flutter scroll bar with drag draggable scroll bar. Really, Flutter didn't provide this? I really don't get why. So this seems like a widget that is just understood. Well, that's the way it is. Flutter didn't ship with it. It's fine. How do you use it? Semicircle thumb. Rectangle. Custom. We'll just stick with the usual one. Oh, good. My scroll control. This is something new. Draggable scroll bar. Yeah, let's not make it too complicated. Let's just stick with what we have. We have a fairly decent app. I don't know. Android actually handles it much better. So I may even have the app loaded here. Is I made this same app, like a dog breed catalog in Android, and even published it on the Play Store. Okay, it's not on this phone. But that handled it much better. You know what, for fun, let's actually download the app if possible. And let's run it on this phone. Maybe I even have the app here under Android projects, dog breed, so D. Oh, it's not on this laptop. Yeah, not on this laptop. So this Flutter is good. I know there's a good way to do it. So what's the time? 54 maybe, 55. Let's see, Flutter cached input image too slow. We're using this, but it's still so slow. We use this cache network image, but it's so slow. Come on, give us something that's good. Too slow. Yes. It's times like these that you really need Is native development, I mean, network image, list view, too slow? Yes, long list views, memory problem. So you know what must be happening is those images are extremely large images and take a lot of space. And what could be happening is uh, as you scroll, it has to load the image that's below there. So it has to load another large image, and by a certain limit, it has like completed its quota of how much storage it's allotted. So then it deletes the images that were at the top from the storage or from the cache or something similar. When you scroll back up, that's why you see it is blank. So this is a really good thing where we have to actually let's see what are the things. Any lightweight Flutter notebook with a long list. Okay. 1500. Let's try changing that. Cache extent. So in our list, cache extent was default. Okay, that default is nothing as default. Okay, let's do 100. Let's load everything. So on slow devices, it won't even work. Let's do a cold restart. We have to wait for the cold restart. Then we have to wait for the actual downloading of all the information, which will take a long time. Downloading the first request is quite fast. Downloading the individual dog images is slow. Maybe doing too much work on the main thread, yes. Skipped, yeah. I know we are overworking the main thread. It is what it is. I don't think we are doing that. I think it's just the way it is. Wait for a long time. And by setting the cache extent to 100, it's very inefficient. The reason being, like on phones with less memory, you are loading a lot, you are claiming a lot of the available memory, and there already was less to begin with. So it'll be very slow and laggy. Let's just see what happens. So now it's loaded 100 images, 100 things. So if you scroll back up, it's still the height did nothing. What just happened? What's it doing? It's downloading it again. Well, we have made a decent app. It's 10 o'clock. We made a decent app. We'll continue on it tomorrow. I'll try to get some information and so we can get this working to a fairly satisfiable level where we think of a way on how to cache the images efficiently. We use the grid view and we try to make this app as good as possible. We also are new to Flutter. Grid views is completely new to me. So we'll go slowly and eventually we'll get a decent thing and then we'll stop. We'll move on to a new app. So we'll keep doing this until August. First of all, the pictures are wrong. And I have to even figure out why that is. So we have to dive deep into the code and figure out what exactly is happening. You see this? Two images with the same thing. So we have to dive deep into what exactly is happening. So a lot to do and it'll take a few days. Well, anyway, this is the end of today's thing. So see you tomorrow. Stop the screen share and see you tomorrow.